Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to part two of our lovely cannibalistic plane ride that we've been on. As you recall, our where we left off last week was just right before they start figuring out we're going through their days of surviving. 72 harsh days on the Andes in the cold, about to eat some people because they're out of food. Now it's just all about the will to survive. How's everyone doing?
Good. Swell.
Just,
Dandy.
just swell.
Yeah, swell.
I'm gonna pick on you this whole episode. I hope
Okay.
you know that.
Well, because you want to do an intro.
Yep, all because you didn't want to do the intro. Save my talking voice.
It doesn't matter.
It's like total of 10 words.
It doesn't matter, bro. 10 words I can't say.
Who hired this guy?
You did.
You're getting a pay cut.
I didn't even know we were getting paid in the first place.
Well, you weren't.
You said, hey, we're gonna add this other guy, and I said, who?
What did you do the first episode? Talk about skin suits.
I'm sorry.
I suppose if that was the goal, like, you succeeded.
All right, you guys ready to get into some of the days on the mountain?
I'm all about it. I'm all ears.
Good. Keep it that way. So on October 16th of 1972, four survivors decided to take an exploratory hike to see the land and get used to the environment. Pito, Roberto, set out to learn just to feel how worse they were in this environment. Obviously, we know in the Andes is very, very cold. Very cold. They weren't prepared for the snow or anything like that. They're from,
What do you think they're wearing?
well, they're from Monte de Veo, and normally in South America, there's not a lot of snow there. So I would think most of them probably weren't even wearing jeans at the time. They might have had like some jumpsuit or some sweatpants because they're a rugby team.
Wearing some Daisy Dukes.
Well, I'm sure some of the girls were. Maybe that flight attendant was wearing that nice flight attendant skirt, you know?
No, I don't know. They've never been on a plane.
In movies.
Yeah, I have.
You've never seen a flight attendant outfit?
Yeah, I have in movies. I don't know if it's what they are in real life, though. I have no idea.
I mean, I'm sure they ain't that slutty now, but
I don't know.
they learned that they were way up in the mountains, like far away from any possibility of help. So all of a sudden, they start feeling really hopeless. They later wrote in a book that this book is called "The Miracle in the Andes." 72 Days in the Mountain, and My Long Trek published in 2006. I did read some of the book, not a lot, but
Oh, okay. You got a good chunk of it.
I read a decent amount.
How many pages?
It was a lot. Good book.
5.
I don't read books.
I know. I bought a new book yesterday.
Oh, what kind of book?
Star Wars book.
Which one?
Tales of Kenobi.
Oh, word.
I watched Star Wars the Lego book one time.
I've got like the Star Wars trilogy book or whatever, the Darth Vader one.
It's a real fancy book. It's got like the silver pages and everything.
Oh, yours does?
Yeah.
That set you back. How much damage did I do?
Nothing else chump change for me.
Ooh.
You're not gonna reveal the
Called
price?
you a broke boy.
It was like $45, something like that.
Damn!
I also got a Star Wars cookbook too.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's some cool shit in there.
Probably, yeah.
I got some like blue noodle something in there.
There's some cool shit in the Fallout cookbook, but you guys don't play Fallout.
I have Moby Dick. You guys ever read that?
Oh no. Get with it.
Just a whale with a big
It
dick.
was before our time.
No, it's not.
What's it about then, Gregory?
A whale with a big dick. It said that.
Exactly.
That's what the porn's about. The book.
What about the movie?
I don't fucking know, man.
Did they make a movie?
I have no idea.
I don't know if they.
Yeah, it's
made
called
movies.
Jaws.
Good one.
Uh,
It's not wrong.
so the four who were the strongest and healthiest among us, and were the ones to supposedly to go out and try to gather resources or try to find a way off this mountain. they didn't really accept the fact that they were way up on the mountain at first. So as soon as they like started walking out and realized that all they saw was mountain ranges from like all around them, there was like a pretty much where the plane crashed. It was just a giant circle of mountains all around them. So that put them into a pretty defeated area. So pretty much day one on the mountain was them pretty much looking at what damage is being caused, like how screwed they are up there on this mountain. So on October 21st, after 142 hours of flying, the rescue team had called off the search. Well, now they ain't getting rescued.
They tried.
Sucks
What do
to
you do?
suck. Hey, it is what it is.
They announced planes to search for the bodies in December, when some of the snow will have melted. Weird thing is, December is actually a part of the summer in the Andes. Kind of weird. Yeah, I know. Pretty weird.
It makes sense once you factor in the atmosphere and the
Look at you getting-
axes.
The axes.
Look at you getting on scientifical over
I
there.
don't know.
Yeah, man. Mason's gonna work at NASA one day.
Next Elon Musk over here.
Well, so the beginning of the summer, according to survivor Bernardo, he started hearing news that was just absolutely devastating. They felt abandoned, and they also felt angry with everybody, even with their families, with the world, and with God and nature. They were just kind of pissed off that no one was going to come get them. But very fast, very quickly, they realized that the only way they would get out is by doing it themselves. Roberto recalled a fellow survivor then telling him, "They has good news. We no longer have to wait for someone to rescue us. We'll just rescue ourselves." Roberto did not think anything about this news was good. So there's one guy trying to keep it positive. How would you feel in that situation?
I mean, I just kill myself, no lie. I'm dead, like, seriously. At that point, I'd rather just die.
You ain't gonna fight for 5?
Fuck no. Jump off the fucking mountain. Deuces.
You want to stay and supply your coat for toilet paper for everyone else?
Nope, I'll just kill myself.
You
Fuck
can do
the
it up
team.
there with everyone.
Well,
Fuck the
you did a
team.
180 from the last time.
Oh,
Yeah, you're like, yeah, dude, I can totally survive this.
yeah, true.
Without
And if
a
you're
doubt.
talking about skinning people and then wearing their skin and then jumping off a cliff.
Yeah, but if
that's
they
just a whole
canceled off
nother
the
level of
search
weird.
team and everything, dude, I'm like, yeah, there's no way we're getting saved now. We're all just dead.
You can survive out in the wilderness.
Listen, bud. There comes a point. There's a point in time where you just have to realize your fate. And after the search party gets canceled,
No, you
It all
only do,
roads
you
lead
only
to
you
killing yourself.
only realize your fate when you're actually dying. When you're actually dying, that's when you have to do it. You have to be like, well, I'm about to die.
I mean, yeah, when they cancel the search party, you're like, well, I'm about to die.
No, you're not
Sayonara.
dying.
Off the mountain I go.
You might be dead a
How are
week
they
from
gonna
then,
know?
but you're not just going to drop dead the minute they call the party off.
How do you know?
You're not going to know if they called the party off or not.
They just said they do.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Were you not listening?
I just heard they called it
This
off.
guy.
I was eating.
That Big Mac had him
I was eating.
hypnotized.
So Roberto remembers feeling that they were trapped in a prison, but then he thought, no, a prison is like a 5-star hotel to this. You have water, you have food, you have bed. We're living in a graveyard surrounded by dead friends. This is the worst place you can imagine in life or death. Also, on the 21st, 28 days into this, Nando's little sister Susie dies from
Come
rage.
on.
Oh my god, dude! You get that under the table.
He did that right next to the fucking microphone.
Oh, that was fucking hilarious. That was a good one. That was fucking good.
Damn.
That's a big fly on your face.
Where is it?
It's gone now.
Oh my
Nope,
god.
nope,
no,
on
it's
your face,
not.
on your face. Right up.
Dude.
Well, get it, Greg.
You see
Is
the
that a horsefly?
Smack
Smack him.
I want to smack you up top of your head.
Hit it, Kane.
I'm
What are you
not
doing?
Hey, I'm gonna smoke the chandelier.
I can't see him staring.
Shit, I'm standing up, bro.
You're going to break something.
No, that's one.
Oh,
Yeah, get it.
yep.
Cat's got it. We're good.
Fucking smoked him.
Damn, how are you not
Did
gonna
that
do
hit
that?
you, by the way? Did it hit you?
What?
I heard it hit the wall. It
I
almost
thought
got
I
me.
was saying I heard it hit something. Definitely did.
All right, so before Greg rudely opened his can of Coke,
And we had to
Right
murder
to
a
the leg.
fly.
and a monstrous ass fly came at me,
What are
Don't
they
worry.
feeding these things?
The problem handled it. It's cool.
So, like I said, on the 21st day into this, Nano's little sister Susie dies from her injuries.
Fresh food.
You know what would have happened though if I
Chicken
went to go
nuggets.
swat that
Chicken
fly?
nuggets.
Just like you see
Don't
in the
even think
movies,
about
it would fly off and I would just smack you up top of the head for literally no reason.
You want to know the
So I
difference?
took a different route.
All right, here's where it gets good. You guys ready?
I'm listening. Yep.
October 22nd. So this is day 9. The survivors committed their first act of cannibalism. They're beginning to starve to death, and all of their food, as you know, what they started with, which was very little, had quickly ran out about the first week into it.
Someone didn't ration properly.
So yeah, so after the food ran out, they attempted to eat the leather and some cotton from the seats, but the chemicals, made them very sick. They were growing angry and frustrated. Days without food, you'd be pretty frustrated and probably pretty pissed off too if you didn't have food for days and days on end.
Yeah, I'd be mad after not having food for about an hour.
Why eat people?
True.
So Nando would occasionally start standing up and shouting, "There's nothing in this place to eat." He later wrote, "But of course, there was food on the mountain. There was plenty of meat, and it was an easy reach. It was as near as the bodies that deadlined outside its puzzled me. That despite my compulsive drive to find anything edible, I ignored it for so long. But obviously, the presence of the only edible object within 100 miles were right next to me."
I guess my only thing here is, like, I feel like you kind of run into an issue. Because if you wait too long, the bodies will definitely, well, I guess with how cold it was, the bodies probably weren't decomposing quite so
Oh
bad.
no, the bodies stayed preserved pretty much
Pretty well
due to how cold
preserved.
it is up there, and that's why a lot of people survive so much with all their
So,
injuries
like-
and stuff.
What if you're in like a really hot place and some shit like that happens? It's like then you have probably about a day or two, and then they're gonna start rotting. Dude, you don't want to. Like you don't
You
want
got
to
something
eat.
to say?
You
Well,
know-
if you're in a really hot place,
We're in a
I
really
ass-
cold place. Why does it matter? We're in the goddamn mountains.
Because what it matters is like you'd have to eat them a lot quicker, so you may not be starving to death when you probably should eat them, and it's not going to make you sick. Because I feel like once they start decomposing, you eat them, you're gonna really, really, really fuck yourself up, right?
I'm just listening, dude.
You have no idea what I just said.
Yeah,
Let's be for real.
you kind of went in one ear out the other.
You looked me right in the eyes the whole time too.
Yep.
So Roberto also later wrote, "Our common goal was to survive, but what we lacked was food. We had long since ran out of the meager pickings we found on the plain, and there was no vegetation or animal life to be found. After just a few days, we were feeling the sensation of our own bodies consuming themselves." You ever felt that sensation?
Yeah.
Have you ever been that hungry where you feel like your body's consuming yourself?
Yeah, my body consuming the fat cells, yeah. The extra energy if you don't eat anything. What? Say something, Greg.
I think the only time, I wasn't starving like they were. Well, that one time I had strep and I was dying on the couch for a week.
You weren't dying, you had strep. Calm down there. Calm queen.
Dude, I couldn't even eat Jello.
Oh, you know what they say? Put that shit in a blender, make it liquid. Drink it.
I couldn't even drink anything.
Oh, I mean, there's feeding tubes.
This motherfucker.
Butt chug.
Butt chug.
So,
That's tore up. How are you supposed to eat through your butthole?
Butt chug.
You butt chug. You blend it up.
Make it a liquid.
Make it liquid.
I don't think it's good.
You butt chug.
Spread your fucking cheeks. Butt chug.
Saw it in a John Cena movie.
It's never good to chug anything through your anal cavity.
We're going to fucking find out.
Got some
I
Coke right
wasn't.
here.
I wasn't.
You ever tried that?
No, I haven't been that hungry before.
Butt chug some food.
So anyways, so they felt like their bodies were consuming themselves just to remain alive. Before long, we became too weak to recover from starvation. We knew the answer, but was too afraid to eat the bodies.
Why are you too afraid to eat a body, bro? It's just meat.
Well, it was the body of their friends, the
It's just protein.
their
That's all it
teammates.
is.
Preserved outside of the snow and the ice contained a vital, life-giving protein
Damn straight.
that could help us survive, but we could do it for a long time. We apologized.
that fly?
Dude is still alive.
What the?
What was it doing? Was it flying around?
That son of a bitch came back for revenge.
I don't know how the hell he survived, bro. He definitely
It's
hit
probably
that
from
wall.
Kane taking his sweet ass time getting to the fucking door.
What are you talking about?
Oh, he's dead now.
You hater.
I was like, ew, you can hear it crunching.
He's dead.
I thought that was the cat. I was like, what the?
The same one?
Well, no shit, it was the same one.
How do you know?
Because he didn't fly away.
Bro, I fucking smoked him. He hit the wall. I heard him.
You just flashbanged him.
True. Just give him a
No,
concussion. That was all.
a severe concussion.
Just threw a concussion date at him. That was all.
You sent him about 90 mile an hour into that.
That
fucking-
wall.
Yeah,
Into
into
the
that
wall.
fucking wall.
Fucked him up for a minute, but
Yeah, he was coming back to give you what for, man.
I don't know,
But he
man.
you had him so fucked up, he came after me instead.
Maybe he just got scared.
Well, anyways, so Roberto, he apologized and he went outside in the snow and he prayed to God for guidance. Without his consent, I would feel like I was violating the memories of my friends and I would be stealing their souls.
I'm having a flex off. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Greg initiated it.
No, I was.
Deacon
He
Rins
almost knocked
initiated.
that over there down, and I was like, "Your hands." And he's like,
I stretched like this, first of all. Okay.
I was expecting for him to rip his shirt off now.
I mean, I can.
Shut up.
You
Do
want
it
me to-
right now.
You want me to take off my hoodie and do it? Do you want to see it?
Can I get back to the story?
Yeah, you can.
Save it for the camera.
Save it for the camera when we get it.
So,
I'll rip yours off too.
shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Don't say things like that.
So over the course of the first weeks, many of them had secretly tried to mentally prepare themselves for eating human meat. Some of their belts began to shrink by full notches each day because of how rapidly they were losing weight. All of the survivors would end up losing anywhere from 50 to 70 pounds over the 72 days between the wreck and the rescue. Is that a reasonable amount of weight loss?
In 3 months, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not eating literally anything.
So when the decision to eat the body was made, Roberto, Fido, and Gustavo.
Gustavo?
Yeah, Gustavo.
Rush.
Stood over
Tom
the
Rush?
bodies of Laguara and Ferretes. These are the pilots, of course. They said they chose them because they didn't know them that well, and I thought it would be easiest to eat them first. Yeah, I'd probably choose to eat the pilots first.
Oh, I would
Yeah,
too.
they're the one that got
ones
you in the mess.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
they're
one that got me
ones
there.
that
They're
started it.
definitely in first. So the survivors stood over the pilots' bodies with razor blades, shards of glass. Roberto, just 19 years old, was the first one to make the cut into human flesh. He later told the Independent, we laid them in thin strips of frozen flesh aside on a piece of sheet metal for each of us to finally consume our piece. When we could bear to, each of us came to our own decision and in our own time. And once we had done it, it was irreversible. It was our final goodbye to innocence.
Definitely other things you can do to say goodbye to innocence.
Just imagining trying to fillet someone with a piece of glass.
A razor blade.
Oh, you can do it with a razor blade for sure.
They pretty much just like, you know, how they do it out in like the African environment. You know, smoke them. Well, I guess they don't really have any. In Africa, you kill something, you can turn stuff into jerky by laying it on wood and letting smoke blow into it.
Dehydration.
Yeah, pretty much making jerky.
Yeah.
But this one's just frozen jerky.
Word. I'll get a dehydrator. Like can make jerky.
And just walk down the mountain to the store and buy a dehydrator. I
I'm just saying. I'm just relating to the story. I mean, I can make jerky.
think that relates.
What are you talking about? They're making jerky.
So Roberto was the first one to take. What?
Shake your head and keep going.
Roberto was also the first one to take a bite of human flesh. He later said that it gave him the strength to do so, or what gave him the strength to do so, was the thoughts of his mother. He said his mom once told him that if you know her child died before her, she would die too. Well, I'm sure more than once told that. So he justified cannibalism in order to have a better chance to stay alive. So he couldn't break his mom's heart.
And his mom's back home.
Roberto was only 19 up there. So hey, Bucko, that's your age.
That's good, bud.
Little young buck over
You
there.
could be out there eating people.
Yeah,
You fucking know.
we can tell that you would have survived. That's the.
No, he just told you earlier he'd kill himself. Like immediately.
If the search party was in it, if the search party was still going, I would be totally cool down with eating people. Just saying. Like a forearm, that could taste pretty good.
I eat that thing like a drumstick.
No, literally.
Maybe I remember they ain't got anything to make fire up there.
You can like hold
Dehydrated
hands,
jerky, you
You
just
like
said.
whole
It's
hands like
cold.
you're shaking it.
An eyeball?
No.
Maybe no. Pop right in your mouth.
Like a gusher.
Yeah.
So, anyways, once Roberto ate the meat, nothing happened at first. He felt better. He later compared it to his first sexual experience.
Goddamn.
How can you make this any more weird? The thing
That's just what he said.
Necrophiliac, yeah?
it's not even like that, man. It's like,
What you mean?
so he said he was thinking about his mom when he was going to go do the
Yeah, that's
cannibalism.
pretty fucked. Now you're bringing his mom back into
And
it.
yeah, and then he said it felt like a sexual experience.
Thinking of his mom?
Thinking
No,
of his
he
mom?
was thinking of his mom when he ate the flesh because he said that his mom told him that if she died or if he died, she would die too.
And then he started pitching a tent from eating flesh that he did for his mom.
He ate the flesh out of the will to survive for his mom, so he didn't break her heart. They died up on the mountain, trying not to fight for survival. And then he said that it felt like a sexual experience when he possibly a serial killer. I don't know.
It is what it is, bro. Serial killers, sometimes, I mean, we've got too many people in this world. Let's be real. 8 billion of us. Some people have got to die.
Connor, continue.
So, so these expectations, all this built up, and then the reality is not what you thought it would have been. He said that the case was like any other raw meat. Nano agreed to eat the flesh as well, but he insisted on protecting his mother and sister's body. So at least there was some common decency there. No one touches the mom or the sister to eat.
For everyone else's family member is fine.
Well,
I guess not everyone had a family there.
Yeah. So he wrote, eating the flesh did not satisfy my hunger, but it calmed my mind. I knew that my body would use the protein to strengthen itself and slow the process of starvation. Roberto later gave National Geographic more of his thoughts on the situation, saying cannibalism is when you kill someone. So technically, this is what is known as, Greg, big word, help.
Where's this big word?
Right there. Arthur Philippe.
Looks like anthropophagy.
Sure. Anthropology. Yeah, I had a
Question in the
What?
front row. You've been saying them forever.
what?
So you're telling me that one guy only ate the flesh? Like one of them only ate the flesh, or did he also eat the straight up meat, or did he just only eat the flesh?
Well, they just cut it off. I don't think they just dissected the body to
So
figure out what
they-
they're going to eat.
Hold on, so you're telling me they just ate the flesh? They didn't eat the actual human meat, the real protein?
I'm
part?
sure they cut a decent chunk out of the guy's body part, whatever it
Yeah, but
was.
you just said he was eating flesh.
Isn't that not what the fucking...
Flesh is different from normal meat.
in your muscle in the body. You know that, right?
And what is flesh?
Flesh is like your skin, dog. Like that
Well,
right
it
there.
can't be like skin. That is your skin.
That right there is an outfit you got on. Your skin.
Yeah, a skin outfit.
Yeah. You get fleshed. I mean,
I'm sure
did
they
you get
took-
filleted.
I'm sure
I think
they,
flesh is a
flesh.
mixture of it all, bud.
I'm sure they took some good protein in it with it.
No, obviously you have to. You want to survive.
Oh, it's like flesh and bone, right? Like skin and bone.
Exactly.
No, you're still wrong.
I think I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, you're not.
I'm always
What a
right.
stupid question.
He said that I've had this discussion for over 40 years. I don't care. We had to eat these dead bodies, and that was it. The flesh had protein and fat, which we needed, like cow meat. I was also used to medical procedures, so it was easier for me to make the first cut. The decision to accept in, intentionally is the only step through the next step is to actually do it. Do you think you have the courage enough to eat the person yet?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah?
Huh.
Well, you just told us he had a very different sensation about it when he ate it for the first time, so he had to have eaten it.
Bro, the only I could eat a human because I have to look at it like this. Okay, listen, that's protein. That's it. That's all I gotta look at.
He also said that that it was very tough in your mouth. Doesn't want your mouth doesn't want to open because you feel so miserable and sad about what you have to do. The main issue is that I was invading the privacy of my friends, raping their dignity by invading their bodies. But then I thought if I were killed, I would feel proud that my body could be used for others to survive. I feel that I shared a piece of my friend, not only mentally but spiritually, because their will to live was transmitted through us, through their flesh. We made a pact that if we died, we'd be happy to put our bodies to the service of the rest of the team. Then reporters said that they pretty much ate everything off the bodies, hearts, organs, brains, etc.
I'd go for a heart or a brain.
Just like spaghetti.
True. I mean, that's the intestines. It's just like spaghetti, really.
No, you get the colon.
I
You
don't
get a
know.
kidney.
I'll fuck with both kidneys. I like little steaks.
That's a colon.
You don't even get an option. I'd give you a lung.
I'd give you a lung. Which intestine does poop travel through?
Both of them. Yeah, I'm staying away from the intestines. I'm not a fan of poop.
Give you the sausage.
No, that's the thing I refuse to eat.
Remember the last time we talked about someone eating dude's penis?
Yeah, let's not take that road.
I don't think I could bring myself to it.
Well, one guy
You
vomit-
said never again?
So I don't think I could bring myself to it.
Oh.
This motherfucker trying to say never again. You're trying to trick me.
Well, I'm not.
What made you
Too
think?
easy.
Yeah, it's too easy.
El Dorado made himself eat by thinking of it's the only way to survive. Physically, at first he found it very difficult to eat the meat, but in time he said he got used to it and eventually became disconnected absolutely with the origin of the food. So according to him, the meat had no taste when he tried to swallow it whole. He pretty much just swallowed it whole.
Bro, you gotta chew it at least.
That's not going to digest very well.
I mean, we all do auto cannibalism.
Auto cannibalism. Break it down to me.
Like you, Mr. Bite Your Nails all the time.
Okay, dog. Shut the hell up.
That's a form of auto cannibalism.
I mean, that shows you I'd be able to eat a human.
I can eat myself. I can eat another
Well, I
person.
don't chew
You
my
know, like
fingernails.
the hangnails that you get on your.
yeah.
Hey, you ever pull those off or like
Hell
bite
yeah.
them off?
Hell yeah. I was bleeding earlier because of it.
Auto cannibalism.
I don't ever. I cut my nails.
Were you ever little and you peeled off a scab and popped in your mouth? See what it tastes
No!
like?
No, I never tried that.
You don't like the taste of pennies?
You said of what?
Pennies?
Is that what it tastes like?
I don't know.
That's what blood tastes like.
I just figured that's what it would be because it's like dried blood.
I don't know.
You ever like
I
bite
never-
your lips? Dead skin
Mhm.
off your lips?
Yes, sir.
No.
Fine.
You ever ate some boogies when you were?
I always have chapstick
Boogies?
on me.
You ever eat boogies when you were a kid?
No, oh no,
You ever
I still eat boogies now.
no, oh,
Oh.
disgusting.
Hey, that's what builds your immune system right there. Just
No, I
putting that
can't.
pure dirt and
Can't.
I can't. I can't.
can't.
I can't. I can't. I can't.
Can't even look a booger in the eye. It's just,
you ever like
You guys ever eat flies?
no,
I think when I was a kid.
Worms?
no.
I used to eat flies when I was a kid.
What?
fucked up.
I swear to God. Like,
That's fucked up.
grab them out of the window-sill. They're already dead.
You eat dead ones?
What?
Not even alive ones?
Yeah, I've had a few before. But I was a kid.
He wasn't fast enough to catch the live
You're
ones.
saying whenever you were a kid, like it
He
makes
had to
it
wait for
better.
him to die in the wind.
Damn straight, bro. I'm like, oh.
Did you ever eat any spiders?
Nah. Flies I used to eat, though. I used to be
Worms?
Nah.
Got a worm.
I used to be a big fan of frog legs
Boogers?
when I was a youngin'.
Were you bad about it?
Was I bad about it? No, not really. I only did it like in my room.
In the dark.
But the people that did it at school were weird.
People do it at work.
Yeah, I
Wipe it
know.
on the walls.
Nuh-uh.
You ever seen the bathroom stall?
Yeah, you ever see the bathroom stall? That thing's infested with boogies.
Yeah, fucking boogie bandits in there.
Yeah.
Right above the urinal.
Yeah, you pick it and they flick it.
That's
Looks
disgusting.
like they smear it.
Yeah, true.
Well, sometimes a couple flicks don't work. You gotta wipe it off.
Hell no.
Really, you're not paying attention. You're not very observative.
No.
Don't lean your head forward when you're taking a pee.
Yeah, don't put your head against the wall because you'll definitely get a boogie.
I don't ever put my... Why would I do that?
Maybe if you're fucking tired, bro.
I'm not putting my face on anything in that
Maybe
fucking
if you're
bathroom.
tired.
Well, all right. I'm gonna get back to it here. So many of the many of the God. Oh
Give
my
it a try, Craig. Let's
It's
get
a
yours.
nasal thing.
Let's get yours, Craig.
Try it again. What is that?
Get your money and not your
So
funny out.
it's a cougar call.
All right, mine's pretty good, huh?
We need one of those things where we can clip it and just hit the hot buttons every
Soundboard.
time. Yeah, soundboard.
That's funny.
What are you
Can I
doing,
get
dog?
back-
You're fucking tweaking over this, bud.
Can I get back to reading now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right. So, many of the survivors, if not all, found it humiliating that they had to degrade themselves to this level of eating their friends to survive. All the passengers were Catholic, and they feared of going to hell for doing this. They were worried about eating human flesh could somehow damn their souls, and they ended up justifying their actions by referencing the Last Supper. Everyone's sick son of a bitch, you know.
I just don't get how it works that way.
Oh, how am I a sick son of a bitch?
What?
You're 6 out of them.
Like, wouldn't it be like all meat? Be a bad thing at that, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess it kind of crosses the line when you're going to eat a human.
No, it doesn't, bro. Not if you're trying to survive. Meat's meat. Protein's protein.
I mean, they ate like birds and stuff. I mean, like if you look at like what the picture of the Last Supper, isn't there like they have like a turkey or something there, some kind of meat?
I have no idea.
I'm sure they would be forgiven. You know, the circumstances and all.
Oh, true. All you have to do is just ask for forgiveness, apparently, and that's what happens. You just get forgiven.
So Javier and Liliana Methiol, she was actually the last female survivor on the plane. They were also the final passengers to actually eat human flesh. They were strict Catholics. They had to really align their spiritual beliefs with being able to do all of it. I guess being a really strict Catholic means you really can't eat human.
That's pretty lame.
Live a little.
No, just live a little.
So Javert said that he prayed a lot and read the Bible, or prayed a lot and read a Bible. They just had a fucking Bible and
Yeah, dude. If they're Catholics, they're gonna carry the Bible with them.
and well, then it finally quoted John 6:54.
What does that
He
say?
who eats, yeah,
I didn't know he was gonna
I'm,
say it.
I'm getting there.
You let me finish.
He who eats of my flesh and drinks in my blood will have the eternal life, and I will execute him on the last day. Take and eat. This is my body.
Think you can eat a human, Connor? I don't know if you'd have it. You
Without a
could?
doubt.
I agree. Same. What about you, Greg?
But
You think you can eat a human? Life or death?
yeah, in bad enough circumstances, yeah.
Can you eat anybody? Say if like someone you know in front of you. Can you do it? His name is Mason. You eat Mason? How about you, Mason?
I mean, if it's my mom,
Not.
probably not.
I wouldn't kill Mason.
No. Like, say he's already dead.
Exactly.
But
I
if it
gotta do
came
what I
down
gotta
to it,
do.
and you guys had a
I
fight,
gotta do what I gotta do.
yeah, but like, if it came down to it, though, if he's like, "Yo, we gotta eat you," and you're like, "No, we gotta eat you," what are you gonna do?
No, I'd say we don't eat the body, and then I'd wait till
And then
we all go
everybody
to sleep,
dies.
and then we kill him.
Well, technically, we would be okay because Cain said he would kill himself. Right off the get-go.
If the search party gets
Yeah,
canceled,
but you can't jump off a cliff.
So what if we just tell you the search
Because if
party's
you jump
canceled?
off a
I'm
cliff,
not gonna
then
trust you. I'm gonna need facts and data because I live my life based on facts and data. I say that all the time.
I've never heard you say that.
You don't? Oh, I say it all the time around my house.
How convenient.
How convenient.
Not
I'm
there.
gonna need to see the facts and data on that
True.
because you could just be making it up
Data.
on the spot. True.
It's
Yeah,
data.
can't argue with that.
You alright over there, man?
Facts and data, not facts and data.
All right,
Fuck.
we still got a lot to get through, so let me finish this.
Dude, sleepy.
So Roberta later wrote in his book, there was the God of the outside world and none of the 10 commandments who ordered that we not steal or lie, but my God of the mountains was different. The God of the mountains witnessed the groans of the inside of my insides. So while I promised to honor him, he saw me and knew I had lost the ability to lie or conceal my overwhelming starvation. So I prayed to the mountain god about whether I could eat my friends. Eduardo and his two cousins took over the butchery. They were put in charge of this terrible task by preparing the meat for other survivors. So that way they didn't have to see where it was coming from, even though they probably already know where it's coming from. But I guess it kind of saves the fact that they're not seeing someone cut up a body, eat them. And they laid it out in thin strips, dried in the sun. So on October 23rd, this is the 11th day. Boy, oh boy, do we still have a lot to go.
Is this gonna be a 3-part?
It might have to be.
Maybe, I don't know. 3 men head out on the second trek. Gustavo, Nuna, and Daniel set out. They discovered more of the remains of the plane crash and 5 bodies of the other passengers. They also miscalculated the time that it would take them to hike up and ended up having to sleep outside with no protection. And nearly froze to death to make matters worse. Gustavo has gone snowblind in his eyes.
What does that mean?
The sun, when it hits snow, gets so bright.
So yeah, so he goes snowblind. His eyes are swollen red. He said it felt like there was sand and needles in his eyes. His eyes also got so cold, sand and needles in the eyes. He also got so cold, he shivered so hard he knocked some of his teeth loose from chattering his teeth.
Damn.
When they returned, Roberto had to chew up his meat before feeding it to Gustavo.
Baby bird?
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't spit it into each other's mouths. That,
Probably did.
no.
How do you know? Were you there?
Would you do that?
Of course, I'd spit it in your mouth.
Like mom and bird for you.
So Nando said
It's a
that the
no.
cold up on the slopes was unbearable. It rips the life from you. It is as painful as fire. I never thought we would live until morning. Nando was not discouraged. Well, maybe he was a little bit discouraged, but he still thought that there was a way to get off this mountain. On October 29th, this is day 17, right when the crew possibly thought that shit couldn't get worse, shit gets way worse. Much worse than it already is. Another massive tragedy strikes the group. A huge avalanche buries a portion of the plane they were living in. And
That's fucked.
8 more people die.
There's eight more bodies to eat.
Yep. So
There was an avalanche, dude.
They're buried, probably.
so the plane started out with 45 and is now down to 19.
I like those odds.
The team devastated by the loss of their captain, especially the loss of Leanna. She became a mother figure in the group and quote nurse of the survivors, like a mother and a saint. So we're gonna take a look at little details of how this avalanche actually happened here.
The plane wrecked into the mountain.
So
That triggered the snow to.
around 4 p.m. on the 19th, the group went into the fuselage for the night because of the cold and the snow. The sun was setting at 4 p.m. They'd be hearing avalanches. They had been hearing avalanches off in the distance all day, but according to Roberto, the idea of being caught in the avalanche was as alien as if it had once been to believe that they were involved in a plane crash. It was sometime that it would happen somewhere else because we've already had our fair share of bad luck. They later slept for the night early in the evening, and then the plane is buried, by the initial avalanche. And then there's about roughly 3 feet of snow in the fuselage, and a bunch of the survivors quickly noted they were suffocating. Roy Harley, woken up by the sudden roar of snow just descending upon the initial of them initially, was 3 more feet. More comes after. He jumped up and immediately unburied, or he was buried up to his hips. He's pretty much, that's how much snow is in the fuselage now.
Oh, I wish we got that much snow the other day. Sick. Oh,
Buried up to his hips, he sees that everyone is laying down and is buried. He starts frantically digging for the bodies, and he is terrified he'll be the only one left alive. So Nando wrote, I woke and frightened and disoriented as a huge and heavy force trampled against my chest. Something that was terribly wrong. I felt an icy wetness pressing against my face, and a crushing weight bore down on me. So hard it forced the air from my chest. After a moment of confusion, I realized what had happened. An avalanche had rolled down down the mountain and filled the fuselage with snow. Roberto was buried next to his friend. He recalls feeling suffocated, couldn't breathe, couldn't see, couldn't hear, until someone pushed the snow off his face. He then quickly freed himself and helped dig others out. Roberto tried to dig out Daniel Moss, but it was too late. Daniel had already suffocated. Nando found a metal pole, managed to poke some holes in the fuselage to provide some ventilation, so they didn't run out of oxygen. Survivors now truly felt like they were in a hell, buried alive alongside the freshly deceased. Roberto later said that this is the first time he ever felt heavy for a dead person. A second avalanche actually happened later that night, but the plane was already buried deep enough that the snow just rolled over the top, and it didn't cause any further damage. So on October 31st, 2 days after being trapped in the fuselage, their 19th day on the mountain, the survivors dig a hole from the cockpit to the surface, finally escaping the plane. They got up by the seat in the captain's chair, taking turns kicking the windshield. One man finally managed to break it, and then they had to dig through the snow to get out all the way. Now now this, and they have still 53 days left to go. Outside, they were met with a harsh blizzard. Their shitstorm continues, and they are forced to return to their icy prison. For 3 days now, they are trapped, buried in the snow, surrounded by corpse. They had no choice to eat them. Roberto told the Independent, "We had no food. Even the frozen bodies were um, relying on outside to stay alive. Um, or they were relying on outside to stay alive. Had been swept away. Uh, every Everyone was waiting for someone to do something, for no one to do, or for no one to do anything, and just let the end come. That's when I started to feel myself to do what needed to be done, to use one of the bodies of the newly fresh dead. So we took yet another step into the descent towards our ultimate integrity, to eat the body of the person lying next to us. Each of us would have to stained with the each of us were stained with the blood, and if we were able to keep the seed of life from withering. Very rough. Like eating the freshly dead right next to you.
Hey, do what you gotta do.
Bernardo, Fido, and Daniel Fernandez took on the group leadership roles. They applied group decisions. People look to them for guidance for a while over the next few weeks. Few survivors here and there makes small excursions trying to pinpoint their location, but none of them make it very far, and they come back. They're just too sick and weak to continue. Nando, meanwhile, continues to hold out hope that they can still make it out alive. He is constantly daydreaming, scheming about how he can make an escape. All of his thoughts of overcoming this incredible tragedy. What are you guys doing?
They're flexing on each other.
Greg is just flexing for no reason. I'm not doing anything. I'm just calling Greg small.
So he keeps daydreaming about his thoughts of overcoming this incredible tragedy. This is what was to get him through the times of suffering on the mountain. His plan was to ascend his supplies he was going to take with him. His climbing techniques, over and over in his heads, he later wrote. He said that I would be the engine that pulled us to the mountains. Roberto's cantinerous spirit would be the clutch that prevailed me from revving out of control. I knew Roberto would make me stronger and better on the journey. He was also the one I needed by my side. Eventually, he will share his plan to the rest of the group, and the plan will become their last hope for nearly 60 days of wasting over 50 days of feasting on their friends. And Roberto would either make it out to get help or die trying. So at least we now got two people willing to get ready to get on this truck to get off this mountain. So way before anyone agreed to helping prepare these two men and three others for another journey, they tried to save everyone. Nato promised he'll have everyone home by Christmas, and he would get them home by Christmas. The group chooses Roberto, Numano, Tintin, and Nando and Fido as the strongest people for this big escape expeditions. Members of these men got the largest portions of food and the warmest clothes. Didn't have to do very much labor around, so they can build up their strength. Roberto urged the group to wait to let the temperatures rise before heading out. The original team of 5 would soon be cut down to 4. Vito developed painful hemorrhoids that was eliminated from him from the expedition. Man, nothing like some fucking hemorrhoids put you down.
These people are just not having a good time. Like no matter what. Like imagine like for that guy. He didn't die, he got hemorrhoids.
Well, and then
After
Nu-
surviving 2 avalanches in a plane crash.
well, Numa was soon then eliminated because someone stepped on his leg, and the bruise became septic.
Can you imagine that?
Well, Newman never ate enough, and his body had no strength to fight the infection that followed. He became very depressed after they kicked him out of the expedition, and then he started refusing to eat anything once after that. So once the 3 were ready to leave, they decided to head east. Economic student Arturo told Roberto how lucky you are that you can walk for us. Now they're out, these 3 guys, on an adventure to get off this mountain. November 17th, day 36, Nando, Roberto, and Tintin headed out on the first day of the expedition. They leave at 8 a.m. Initially, they thought that the entire hike out of the mountains would only take about 3 or 4 days. After a few hours of hiking, they found the tail of the aircraft, and they were surprised that they thought it was much further away. Inside of some of the luggage, they found chocolate, old empanadas, rum, cigarettes, clothes, comic books, medicine, and a camera. And this camera is actually used on the mountain, so you can actually see actual pictures of what they took on the mountain.
So dibs on the cigarettes.
With what lighter?
They took the camera because, quote, I thought that if we didn't make it off this mountain alive, someone might find the camera and develop the film, and they would know that we had lived for at least a while. They also found radio batteries undamaged and intact, and an intact compass at the tail. So they ate some of the food, read some comic books, enjoyed the warmth, to finally be able to build. So they did find a ladder. They actually built a fire. Later that day, poor passenger Arturo passes away back in the fuselage. So yeah, these 3 guys are nice and warm and cozy up there in the tail pit, and these poor bastards are dying in the fuselage.
What I would do, no lie.
Die?
No, so
Oh.
be fucking warm and cozy.
So what happened to Arturo? How
This
did he
guy
pass away?
has to do with the infection
From
and
the-
decided not to
The
eat.
cold.
From the cold. Hypothermia it is.
Well, no, Arturo was the one. Yeah, Arturo was the one that got stepped on.
Had the
Yeah.
infection.
Oh, so
Yeah, the septic,
They
yeah.
refused to eat.
November 19th, the return of the tail found that the batteries are too heavy to take back. They decided to return to the fuselage, disconnect the radio, carry that back to the tail. When the men returned to the fuselage, they told the group they had found more coats, cigarettes, rum, a half-eaten empanada, batteries, and chocolate. But all the stuff that was too heavy to bring back, they decided to just take the radio to the batteries. So, returning to the tail, the expedition group brought an engineer student, Roy Harley, with them. What they didn't know, that the battery was not enough voltage, and their plan was going to fail. Also on November 19th, Pastor Raphael, a dairy farmer student, dies from gangrene. Group now they're down to 17. Yep, so people are dropping like flies. November 23rd, Roy, Nando, Tintin, and Roberto dislodged the radio from the fuselage cockpit. This is a pretty pointless task that takes them the entire day. November 24th, the 4 men take the shattered piece of the radio, put them on a sled, hike towards the tail. They work from the 24th to the 27th trying to fix the radio, but could not make it work. They managed to broadcast a short wave signal but they couldn't get a super VHF signal to actually communicate with any planes. All they hear is static, feeling defeated. They decided to march home November 19th, day 48, the men's last night sleeping in the tail section. They find insulation fabric they will later use to make sleeping bags. That way, that they will make a later track off of the mountain possible. So on November 30th, the men back began the hike back to the fuselage. On their way back, Nando, Roy, and Tintin, trapped in another blizzard. Roy had just decided he would just lay there to die.
Just gave up.
Roy and Nando had gotten left behind in the blizzard. Roberto and Tintin walked ahead of them. Roy just felt like he was too weak to walk. Told Nando just to leave him. Nando started to walk away, and then at first he gets very angry, comes back, and lands on Roy, starts punching him and screaming, "You son of a whore, you filthy bastard!
But do I say that?
Get on your fucking feet, you miserable son of a bitch! Stand up, or I'll kill you!" And that really was an exact quote from a book, they said. And well, that screaming actually worked and they made it back alive. Nando now insisted the group needed to send him and a few others to hike out to get help, but no one wanted to go with him. A second time, he kept that tough and eventually persuaded Roberto and Tintin to go out with him. The remaining survivors created sleeping bags so the men could survive sleeping outside. They used insulation from the tail, bright copper wire, and waterproof fabric to make one giant sleeping bag for 3 guys to sleep in. A lot of spoon in there.
I would want to be the one in the middle for the most heat.
Well, on December 8th, this is the 57th.
I probably want to be the person on like
Fucking interrupts.
probably the person who's on like so I'd want to be going nuts to butts and not have any nuts to butts on me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you're in the middle, slide on your back.
No, in the middle, sleep in your back or your belly.
Just have the other two just.
No, because then your faces are near.
So you want to be one of the guys on the end?
You're worried about that and not survival?
you
Yeah,
don't go in
dude,
the
I ain't
middle.
trying to get kissed while I'm fucking freezing to death.
I don't know if that's what
Kiss.
they're worried about.
I don't think anyone's swapping spit, dog.
You don't know what they're gonna do while they're spooning.
Never know, but
You know some of the weird stuff Connor's told us on here.
bro, we're talking about it. Look out there, Bucko.
You ready?
I've been fucking.
So, day 57, the group heard on the radio transmitter the Bulgarian Air Force was going to start searching for them again. Kane would have killed himself for nothing. Start searching for them again with helicopters. So, December 10th at 7 a.m., this caused a lot of debate amongst the group. Should they wait? Should they attempt another hike out? Roberto and Nando get into a big fight over this. Roberto wants to wait for the rescue team, but Nando tells him, "I'm leaving in the morning on December 12th. If you aren't ready, I will go without you." Roberto told Nando that you can leave without me, you stupid bastard.
You stupid bastard.
Okay.
Nando responded, "You heard me. I'm leaving the 12th, with or without you." Nando would get not only Roberto to agree to venture out, but he would also get Tintin. December 11th, day 60, law student Numa dies from starvation. He had begun to refuse to eat human flesh of the survivors. The 16 remained devastated of their loss. He was one of their best friends and a source of positivity for all of them. He had been with them so long throughout all this. After numerous deaths, Roberto and Tintin, they headed out. They still considered waiting for the plane or a helicopter, but many of the members of the group were just weeks away, if not most, from definitely dying. And it's a big risk if they don't see themselves taking this hike. So on December 12th, Nando, Roberto, and Tintin set out on their hike. They have no map, no real supplies, no climbing experiences, but they are determined Also terrified, according to Roberto, the decision to leave their new home was more difficult than the decision to eat human flesh. Had they been leaving at 7 a.m. so they could use the frozen snow to their advantage, they were wearing several layers of clothes, homemade snowshoes, metal walking sticks, and ropes. Nando wears 3 pairs of jeans, 3 sweatshirts, a polo shirt, 4 socks wrapped in a plastic bag. They hike approximately till noon, when they have to stop and put on their snowshoes due to the icy snow beginning to soften a bit. And then they continued all day until the icy winds made them feel nearly frozen and decided to stop and set up camp, which really isn't much of a camp. They pretty much just dug a big ass hole and bunkered down in their sleeping bag. The men would climb from 11,710 feet up to over a 15,320 foot peak, and over the next few days descend into the valleys below. If this is going to work, the initial part of the hike nearly was a straight vertical slope that they had to stop every few seconds to catch their breath from climbing. Experts recommend the climbers do not ascend more than 1,000 feet per day. They gave their bodies time to adjust. Roberto, Nando, and Tintin climbed twice as far as that one morning and continued to push their starving bodies despite exhaustion and altitude sickness. So Nando later wrote, "I knew we were walking ourselves to death, but I couldn't make myself stop. Time was running out for us, and the weaker I grew, the more frantic I became. Keep moving. My pain in my body didn't matter anymore. It was just a vehicle now. I would burn myself to ashes if it was to get me home." So the hike was extremely physically difficult. Before he left, the survivors told Roberto, "Your legs belong to the group, not to yourself." And that would inspire him to keep going because he knew 13 people were waiting on him. When he had felt like he couldn't take another step, he would ask himself, "What are you doing? What are you going to do? Die in the snow?" This would make and continue on. The only reason the men were able to do so, to continue on, because of the pure willpower. They were freezing, starving, exhausted, now in the midst of a grueling hike capable of killing seasoned mountaineers with proper equipment. There's fucking raw dog in this mountain. So they only brought a 3-day supply of meat wrapped in a sock because they thought they were much closer to Trilico than they actually were. They also weren't able to stay on top of the snow like they hoped with their homemade snowshoes. Not constantly. All the men would end up walking up to their hips in snow, with Nando leading the way every night of the hike. Their sleeping bag can serve just enough warmth to keep them from freezing to death. On December 13th, Roberto wants to head east because he thinks he sees a road. He will not find out until much later that he actually does see a route. They have an argument about which way they want to go. They're unable to make a decision, so they decide to split up for part of the day. On December 14th, Roberto stays behind at camp for a bit to contemplate his decision. Nando and Tintin head up and reach the base of a 300-foot vertical wall. Nando decides he's going to climb the wall or die trying, uses sticks to carve steps into the wall, and reaches the peak before Tintin. That little metal walking stick. Nando thinks he's going to overlook a green valley of Chile now, but instead all he can see is in every direction more mountains, more snow, extremely discouraging and depressed. So December 15th, the 3 men reach the summit. They have been hiking up with what the men don't know is that they had hiked up the part of the Mount Arkankugen, the highest mountain peak in the Andes, which is 2,000 22,831 feet. Roberto's first thoughts when he sees the endless mountain stretch out beyond them is that they were going to die. He later wrote in his book, "I had to survive," or in his book, "Had to survive a plane crash in the Andes inspired my calling to save lives." That was published in 2016. Nando was standing off to the side, staring silently into the distance. After taking a few steps, I could see why we were in it. We were at the true summit, and what lay before us to the west was an infinite number of gigantic snowy peaks disappearing into the frozen into the horizon. Too much of her diminishing strength, I turned and saw the same landscape 360 degrees. I felt unbearable weight on my shoulder. Nando spotted two smaller peaks in the west. So they look off into a direction. They see two mountaintops that has no snow on it. Normally that's a good sign. It's lower altitude. Might have some life down that way. So they decide to walk that way. On December 16th, Nando and Roberto began descending the slope. They looked that way. The men realized that the hike was going to take much longer than they planned. Initially, they knew they now sent Tintin back to the back because he was the slowest member, and the food they brought was getting more and more non-existent. Tintin uses a seat cushion as a sled to return downhill to the crash site in roughly an hour. It had taken him 3 days to hike up at this point, and it took him an hour to slide back down to the others. There's your sled part.
They must have been hauling ass. 3 days turned into an hour.
He also wrote a sled, bud.
No turtle shell like the forest.
True. Be in the forest.
Well, hey, we're almost done here.
How much longer? How many more?
We're on day 66,
How many days are there?
72.
Damn.
So December 17th, this is day 66. The men continued their hike at 10 a.m. They hear a helicopter. We can't see it. We have no idea if the hike is pointless or if the friends are about to be rescued. Just keep on marching, Roberto finally reached the end of the snow on this day, seeing drinkable water for the first time. Well, at least Roberto and Nando made it out of the fucking snow. They see drinkable water for the first time in months. Roberto wrote, "On the sixth day hiking across the mountains, I learned that when you're tiptoeing in the line between life and death, you don't despair. You either live or you die. You quit or you fight on. When you decide you won't resign yourself to define, you find a strength you never knew you had, and you push beyond the limits of what you thought was possible. That's how I survived the sixth day. Something came alive inside of me, and he went beyond the will to live." So December 18th, the men reached the green valley that they seen from the top of the summit. They found a source of the Rio San Jose in Argentina, a river that joins another river and then eventually another leading into the village of Chile. They follow the river, seeing signs of life for the first time since the crash. At the night, they find an abandoned campsite. This is the first time any sign of human activity. Boy, oh boy, can you imagine how good that felt? Normally, you would feel great, but at this point, both Nando and Roberto's bodies are really starting to shut down. The lack of food and just exhaustion. Their legs are numb, toes are turning black, hearts constantly pounding from exertion, skin turning a greenish white color. On top of the mountain, the sun has been setting at 4 p.m. Now at 4:30, the sun is still out. This meant it is no longer blocked by the mountains anymore. They're heading in the right direction. They keep going. December 19th, they come across some river rapids, deciding to follow them southwest to see if the water would be low enough to cross. It's still cold, but there's no more snow, Roberto notices. How much more oxygen there is, it's it's a lower altitude now. Being up in that mountain and you come down and you get so much oxygen. That's why Kenyans are really good at running track. His mind feels clear. He also sees a lizard, first animal he's seen in 2 months. They eventually cross the river, losing a bottle of rum. Damn. Shame.
That shit should have done been drank.
They get soaked, but with wood now around, they're able to make a substantial fire for the first time in 2 months to get warm at night. December 20th, the 69th day, two men start their day by waking up with red bumps all over them, all over their bodies. They have been bitten by a mysterious bug in the night. Roberto finds a soup can. Nando insists it must have fallen out of a plane, but Roberto finds horseshoes. Argues with Nando. Horseshoes don't fall off a plane. Civilization is close. They both then spot cows, a sign that a shepherd could be near. Nando's.
Old
Mhm.
McDonald?
On his farm?
On his fucking farm?
Nando is still reluctant, though he gets his hopes up, only to be disappointed. Later that day, they find piles of chopped wood, an animal pin, boots prints. They're so close. So close. They sit down to rest early that night. Roberto thinks he can't go on any longer. He becomes so sick and with dysentery from drinking the river water. Have some diarrhea. The two men
They
are.
didn't boil it, even though they can make a substantial fire with all the wood now.
What the fuck they gonna boil it with?
Well, fucking, yeah, they bring a human skull as a bowl.
Motherfucker, this guy.
What? Sorry, you motherfuckers don't be thinking ahead, dude. Holy,
Well, it's not going to hold anything, is
you
it?
guys get caught lacking. Yeah, it would. Skull would hold anything like a bowl.
It's got all the holes in it.
No, it. What are you talking about? Your skull has these little holes in it. Are you what? What?
What if it's fractured?
It's not gonna be fractured if they're already dead. If they die from suffocation in snow, if your skull's fractured, then that would make zero sense.
A lot of poundage of snow.
All right. Anyways,
Could be.
so the two men are sitting there having a debate on if they should kill one of the cows for food or not. When they see a man riding a horse 300 yards away, on the other side of the river, Roberto tells Nando to run after him, and he does exactly that as best as he could. He jogs down, calls for help, sees not one as he gets closer, but three men. Nando tries to shout at them from across the river, but no one can hear him. When he tries his best to show he needs help, and then one of the men finally seems like he understands. Wow, I bet that feels great.
They didn't bring any flares.
You dumb motherfucker.
A plane would have flares on it. Just saying.
The plane blew the fuck up, dude.
That doesn't mean flares blow the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, but what if the part that had the flares in it is already gone?
How do we know though, dude? The flares
They
would
never
have went
found
off then. They blew up there, dude.
Anyways, one of the men from across the river yells tomorrow. Nando and Umberto had just have to make it one more night on their own. This man, Sergio, then throws Nano some loaves of bread across the river. At least they got some good food now. Bread.
Dude, how long is that? How wide is that river? Bro's got an arm on him. Bro's playing the wrong sport.
He then proceeds to ride 8 hours straight on horseback to the local police. On the road, he meets another shepherd, asks him to go get the men, bring them back to the village of Los Medagras. Medaginas. Sergio follows the river to the bridge that links the village of Panut to the holiday resort of Himmas de Flaco. He stops a truck. They drive to the local police station in Panut. The police send news to the army command in San Fernando. Chile, who then contact the army in Santiago. December 27th or 21st, day 70, only 2 more days. Early that morning, Sergio sends 2 of his friends to meet with Roberto and Nando, while he rides back after making contact with the army command in Santiago. Just before the sunrise, Roberto sees a flicker of light. The horsemen had lit a fire so he could see them. Roberto feels weak and paralyzed. Nando approaches the fire, sees 3 figures sitting on boulders, 2 men and a boy. Nando tries to talk to them, but he still can't hear them over the river. His voice is too weak. So the 2 men throw him some paper and pencil, and they tried to that was tied to a rock. Nando wrote, "I come from a plane that fell in the mountains. I am Uruguayan. We have been walking for 10 days. I have a wounded friend up there in the plane, and there's 14 injured people. We have to get out from there quickly. And we don't know how we don't have any food. We are too weak. When are you coming to fetch us? Please, we cannot even walk." "Where are we?" the man read in the red. They gave him a signal, then he understood. 2 hours later, the rider came into the Florian with his horse. He was a farmer, and he was part of a group in Indonesia's inhabitants of present-day South Central Chile and southwestern Argentina, named Armado, Serde, and Sirio had sent him a band-aid.
Bro just gets a
Unbelievable.
band-aid strapped on him. What the
I'm
hell?
good.
How do you got on? Bro, what? You got a whole bunch. I don't need a
It's just
band-aid.
a knuckle.
I don't need a band-aid. I'm hitting Greg up.
So they learned that they were in Los. They learned that they were in this village. They gave him bowl soup with beans, noodles, and beef. First hot meal they've had in 70 days. At 6 p.m., Sergio and 10 men from the police station arrive. Roberto and Nando speaks with Sergeant Orlando, who asked them to show them where on the map where the survivors were. They spent most of the night answering questions, talking about everything but the cannibalism. They had agreed previously as a group to never discuss it, but the police found out anyways, as we know. Nando tried to show the police where the survivors were, but they didn't believe him. They didn't believe that he had crossed the Andes. They initiated that he and Roberto, that they were crazy from starvation, and it wasn't possible. What he was trying to tell them took a few hours to convince them that they were telling the truth. Police bastards. These police are big heads.
Some people, man.
So Nando and Roberto then taken to the village of Los Mates on horseback. The Chilean Air Force sent helicopters to interview Roberto and Nando. Agreed to take them to the mountains. Ernardo recalls hearing the radio news that Nando and Roberto had been rescued. He said life flooded back into everyone. It was pretty much the resurrection of the dead. Now all the survivors are happy to hear that they are gonna get survived. They're gonna get taken off this mountain.
Saved.
Yeah. So December 22nd, this is day 71. 6 survivors are rescued from the plane crash, and the helicopters are too small to take all 14. Weather is still dangerous. Members of the Chilean Air Force or Chilean rescue team spend the night with the remaining survivors at the site. December 23rd, the final 8 survivors are rescued, bringing an end to the 72 days on the mountain. 16 of the original 45 had survived the plane crash. Starvation, extreme weather, and a gigantic avalanche. Daily mental battle of surviving of the frozen, barren mountain completely cut off from the outside world. having no idea if anyone would ever find them, and the only people who lived. I'm not gonna read all the people that lived.
Good call, bud.
So the same day, news reports of cannibalism are published worldwide, except for in Hungarian, where they're from.
Good call.
So the truth quickly comes out. Guessing those rescue team members are also probably noticing noticed the eaten dead bodies near the wreckage. That night they stayed there. When Roberto returned home, he thought that his duty was to visit the parents of the dead and tell them exactly what had happened. Nando also brought them letters written by his friends that they had their last thoughts. December 26th, pictures taken of the Hungarian relief corpse of half-eaten, corpse of half-eaten leg are printed into 2 Chilean newspapers, leading to the public outrage. Executions now of murder. I think they murdered him.
Who got murdered?
Well, that's what the public is saying. The people they had to take pictures of it, found some half-eaten
Did they
legs and
really?
all that. They thought that they murdered them.
They keep bumping everybody under
Yeah,
the
yeah.
table. I was
So-
like moving person to person. I was trying to get you to like all look at
Only got
These
3 more
fucking-
days here.
3 more days.
Right at the end.
Motherfucker, you
Right
said
at the end.
72. You were at 71.
Right at the end. December 28th, the survivors hold a press conference in the Stella Maria College in Montevideo. More headlines are starting that the men had murdered their friends for food, and they wanted to correct those rumors. Alfredo speaks for them, saying that the actions were like the Last Supper. He also explains the pact of the men made, and after the people began to really understand the living hell these guys had gone through. Public backlash goes away. Thank God. Catholic Church also publicly absolves him from any guilt. On January 28th, or January 18th, 1973, 12 officers and a priest are transported to the crash site to make a common grave for the dead. Their families are not allowed to attend the blessing of the site. It's too dangerous to bring many people, and they don't want to risk any more deaths in the Valley of Tears. There's a plaque on the gravesite which reads the words to the Hungarian brothers, "Close, O God, to you." The authorities then destroyed the remains of the fuselage. So October 13th is the anniversary of this crash when it happened. And as of October 13th of 2012, the 40th anniversary of the crash, the Old Christian played the Old Hungarian, the team they were supposed to play back in 1972, and the game ended with a 1-1 tie.
That's pretty fucking anticlimactic.
And that is the end of their 72-day journey.
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 You call that a journey?
I think when people tell you like take me on an adventure, I don't think that's what they fucking mean.
Oh, no, not at all.
I mean, could have been a journey.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's not a good journey.
So after hearing all their stories and all that, do you think you could survive 72 days up there in the Andes Mountain?
Yes.
I don't think so anymore.
Ow! Did you hear that?
You just about died to a table.
It's just a long ass time.
Oh, that was my knee popping.
Oh, I
3
didn't hit it off
months.
the table.
3 months in the cold, eating nothing but
I mean, have you ever watched Naked and Afraid? Those people are about goddamn near dead within
Yeah,
a
it's
week.
true. I could definitely do it. I mean, but you're not naked though.
And you're also not eating. Well, you're also stuck with just one other person.
That's true.
and you can't really fucking eat them on
Yeah,
national
true.
television.
feel like,
Before all that sets in, the producers are gonna be like, "Whoa, what the hell are
whoa,
you about
bud,
to
you're
do?"
jumping the gun there.
Oh my god! Now I'm gonna go on the show naked and afraid, and just one
Try
night
to
just
eat
kick out a
somebody.
fucking knife and be like,
The
"So you get me
producer,
on
the
camera."
cameraman comes out there. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
The ref
whoa!
is like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?
I'm fighting for survival.
It's a TV show, bro. Calm down.
I'm about to eat this motherfucker."
Have you ever seen the episode where like the survivors like went to the medical tent, like actually stole food from him, and then kicked him off the show?
Damn.
Yeah, because they caught him. Like the cameraman caught him, and they're like, and I confronted them the next morning.
I know you're starving, but fuck you. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
So, Mason, you think you survive 72 days up there?
I could try. Might freeze.
Greg?
I'm hungry right now.
Same, dude. I can go for something to eat.
Dude, you just ate 20 nuggets and a large fry.
Damn, straight, Bubba. Gotta eat big to get big.
That's how that works.
So Rich Piana
Oh,
says.
so I should go eat some more.
Well, I guess it's that time. Yeah.
End it
I guess
for us.
And
we
it
shall
was.
we shall leave the next episode a mystery, but it will involve murder.
Let's go, murder.
Murder.
Hype up, murder. Whoop whoop.
Serial killer time.
Killers. Stab, stab, stab.
Well, Greg, take us out of this very long episode. For King.
Take us out of here, Greg.
Rock, paper, scissors for it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this shit.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I'm not doing this shit.
Rock, paper,
Mason,
scissors.
show 'em how it's done.
Macy.
Thank you for listening to another episode. Follow us on our social medias down below. Check out the YouTube and the Spotify all with all episodes in case you missed one in the past. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.